You were told, "You're so smart." And back then, those words felt like everything. Like warmth on a cold day. Like a shield against the world. You soaked them up because they made you feel seen, special, safe. But what you never heard was, "You worked really hard on that. Great job. I'm proud you kept going even when it was tough." It's okay to struggle. That's how you grow. Without realizing it, you were caught in a trap disguised as a compliment. A golden cage built on the lie that effort means failure. Because if you're smart, you shouldn't have to sweat or strain, right? If you have to try, then maybe you're not as gifted as they said. So you learned a cruel message, one nobody meant to teach you. If I struggle, I'm not really smart. If I have to work hard, I'm broken or weak. It felt harmless at first. Just praise. Just encouragement. But it planted a seed of fear that slowly took root, growing silently inside you. Years passed, and eventually you hit something you couldn't breeze through. Maybe it was math, a sport, a relationship, or just life itself. And instead of rising to meet the challenge, you shrank, because struggling wasn't just difficult. It felt like being exposed, like someone had pulled back the curtain and revealed the truth. I'm not perfect. If I'm not instantly good at this, maybe I was never really good. If I can't solve this fast, maybe I'm a fraud. You weren't avoiding the work. You were avoiding the shame. Every challenge became more than a test of skill. It became a test of your worth. This is the curse of praise built on identity rather than effort. When you tie your value to being smart instead of becoming better, you start chasing only what feels easy. You clutch tightly to things you're naturally good at, while quietly abandoning everything else you might have loved. You become a collector of interests. A dozen hobbies half-started, dreams half-formed. You're always beginning, but never finishing. Why? Because the moment something gets hard, you panic, you freeze, you run. Not because you lack discipline or willpower, but because no one ever taught you that struggle is part of growth. They taught you how to perform flawlessly, not how to grow messily. Here's a brutal truth few admit. You don't become great by avoiding effort. You become great by enduring it, by showing up again and again, especially when it's painful and ugly. The ones who reach the top, they fail often. They bleed. They sweat. They repeat. Because they don't tie their identity to being perfect. They tie it to getting better. Now, you face a choice. Keep protecting that old label. The smart one. The prodigy who never struggled. Or burn that version of yourself down. Become someone who earns worth through grit, discipline, and brutal, beautiful growth. Because the truth is, you were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to evolve, to fall, to get back up, to fall again. So stop chasing praise. Stop fearing effort. Stop needing to look good before you get good. Be someone who's not afraid to be bad first. Be someone who keeps going when it's hard. That's real power. But here's what no one warned you about. When you've never been taught how to struggle, when your whole self-worth is wrapped up in being naturally gifted, you start running away from anything that demands more than instant success. That's when the next wound forms. You become a collector of hobbies, of ideas, of dreams, chasing the high of starting something new, the rush of possibility of maybe this time you'll be amazing. But the moment it gets hard, that old voice creeps in again. Wait, I'm not instantly good at this. Then maybe this isn't for me. So you bounce. From guitar to design, programming to writing. From project to project, dream to dream. Each one begins with fire. Each one is abandoned in cold. You build a resume of unfinished ambitions. A trail of almosts and could-haves. Things you once dreamed to master. But dropped the moment mastery demanded pain. And that hurts. Because you know you're capable. You feel the weight of your potential. But what you see reflected back is regret. When regret piles up, starting but never finishing, something inside breaks. Not just disappointment, not just frustration, a deeper wound to your very sense of self. Your mind fights to protect you. It builds armor. Two kinds of armor. Some put on the mask of defensive arrogance. Everyone else is dumb. I don't need this anyway. It's easier to pretend you're better than to admit you're struggling. Others collapse inward, drowning in self-loathing. If I can't do this, maybe I was never smart. Maybe I fooled everyone. Maybe I'm nothing. Compliments feel like lies. You dodge praise. You self-sabotage. You expect failure, and sometimes even create it to feel in control. This isn't laziness. It's emotional burnout, a survival mechanism wearing indifference as a mask. But armor comes at a cost. When you hide behind arrogance or self-loathing, you pull away from people, from connection, from support. You convince yourself it's safer alone because no one really understands you. Or worse, you fear they'll see the cracks you hide. So you distance yourself. You say, they don't get me. They're better than me. If they knew the truth, they'd leave. You avoid connection, not because you want to, but because you're terrified of exposure. Now, instead of admitting you're lonely, you convince yourself you're better off alone. Or worse, you believe you don't deserve connection at all. Isolation becomes your shield and your prison. Trapped in that prison, alone, guarded, disconnected, something vital slips away. It's not just relationships. It's not just opportunities. It's the spark inside you, the light that once made you feel alive. Eventually, even what you loved feels dull. Why? Because when passion is tied to perfection, when there's no room to fail, passion becomes pressure. You stop chasing what you love. You avoid it, because failing at what you love feels like a death sentence to your identity. Here's the harsh truth no one says. Your identity isn't fixed. It's not talent, perfection, or success. You were taught talent defines you. But that's a lie. Effort beats talent every single time. Being smart isn't a personality. It's a tool. And that tool only works when you use it imperfectly. When you fail, learn, and try again. Because growth lives in the messy middle, not the flawless start. So what now? How do you take this truth and turn it into action? Especially when starting feels pointless, or you're too afraid to fail. What you can actually do, even if it feels pointless right now. Start something and suck at it, on purpose. Make being bad the goal. Let your ego die. This isn't about proving talent. It's about proving you can grow. Reframe failure as skill building. You don't fail at piano by hitting wrong notes. You learn. The smart kid brain hates this, but the adult version of you must teach it this truth. Let praise land, even if it hurts. When someone says something kind, say thank you. Don't debate it. Don't push it away. Just pause. Let be real. Let be yours. Give yourself permission to do it badly. Not every hobby needs to be a career. Not every dream needs a performance. You're allowed to be mediocre at things that bring you joy. Name your regrets. Then forgive yourself. Write them down, all of them. Mourn what you missed. Then choose one. Just one. Give it a second chance. No performance required. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're a smart kid who was never taught how to be a growing adult, with all the mess, doubt, and effort it requires. The genius label didn't protect you. It paralyzed you. But you can learn to live differently. Even if it starts slow, even if it sucks at first, even if no one claps, you'll be walking towards something real. And that's more than most smart kids ever do.